probably want to double check. Okay, it says we're live. Does anybody want to?
There's a delay, so it's not quite live yet.
Okay.
I'm not touching anything on my computer because
Okay. That's probably wise.
I'm not
It says
not a
watch live
computer.
now. I got the notification, but it's not live yet.
Okay. Well, let's stand here awkwardly until we
Yes,
can verify.
I specialize in awkwardness, so let's do
Awkward
this.
standing by.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. I can't check on my phone. So you're
it's
gonna
live. It's
it's
good.
okay. Hi everyone. Sorry for the confusion here. We had some technical difficulties again, not as bad as we did last week. Today we're here with a very special guest, Daniel Williams, who is on my end, he's over here, but he could be over here for you or possibly down there. I don't really know. So we're gonna pick his brain and we're gonna solve all of life's biggest challenges, discover all of the mysteries of the universe in probably the first hour of this live stream in particular.
Wow.
So yeah, we're gonna make that happen. Let me see here. First, before we do that though, a tiny bit of housekeeping. If you don't know, my name is Abby Quinn and I am an ancient astrologer. I specialize in Sumerian, Mesopotamian, Babylonian astrology and whatnot. All of my information and everybody's information who's on here today is going to be in the video description, but you can also see all of my stuff on my website, SumerianAstrology.com. While you're there, you can learn ancient astrology. You can learn Sumerian, as in the Sumerian language. You can also sign up to join our free meditation support group where we 100% do not meditate on the call every Sunday from 11 to
Yes.
1 p.m. for the most part. That's usually how long it goes.
Yes.
It's a small group and it's a legit support group. So we talk about all of our problems as well as how bad we suck at meditation. So you're absolutely welcome to join us on there. And like I said, you can do that on my website. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Friar Pesel, so he can introduce himself.
Yes, hello. Yeah, 100%. Like I joined the meditation support group and now I don't meditate at all. It's amazing.
Right, right.
So here I am. I am a student of the mysteries. I don't like to position myself as some sort of crazy authority, like looking down over you at all times. I'm really just along for the ride with y'all, I promise. Uh, you know, so whatever you do, don't go to my WordPress site at friarpesel.wordpress.com. And especially don't get interested in my services for which there is a discount code for viewers of the show,
Are you
which is
doing reverse psychology?
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. So yeah, definitely do not take advantage of 50% off of my one-on-ones or compassionate listening by using the code Marduk50. Just don't do it. I dare you not to do it.
I double dog dare you not to
That's
do it.
right. Triple.
Yeah.
So yes, that's me. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Daniel, moment of truth. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? And I mean, obviously you can do like basic introduction and stuff. What you do and kind of how you got on this path. And by the way, everyone, again, just so you know, Daniel's email address is in the video description, so definitely reach out to him because you will not regret it. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm originally from England. In the background, you can see that's my home. That's the beach where I'm from. But I've been in Michigan now since 2009. I have a background in social care, but I've done lots of different jobs, lots of different things, including moving to America when I was in my 40s. I ran into Abby, I think, probably 8 or 9 years ago, just because a friend of mine had recently had a psychic reading and was telling me about it, and I thought, well, I'll have some of that. And so I found Abby online amid all the many that there are online and thought that she seemed the most likely to give me some information. And from there, I had several readings. Then we got to know each other and she told me all sorts of stuff about me, which I knew and didn't knew. But since then, I've also become a licensed massage therapist because the job I was doing in the UK didn't translate to come over to America. And I've always been in the field of trying to help people, whether it be social care, massage, and I'm currently doing something that I've developed called distance clearing, where I help clear people of the way I can term it is a cage. They have a cage around them, which is just energy that's built up, and I kind of go in and remove it. But there's obviously a long story how I got to being a young kid in England to now doing this in Michigan.
Did you want to tell that story?
I don't know. I guess we could begin at the beginning.
Okay.
Because really it's my own healing journey that's got me to this point. And as I say, to begin at the beginning, we have to go back to being born. And my birth was quite a traumatic one, to the point where my mother was very sick and I was in an incubator. So I was many miles, and this incubator, I had to go to a local hospital, which is like 25 miles away. So I had this instant separation and sort of trauma. And then a childhood which had its hits and misses, like a lot, you know, some good things, some bad things. And then but I also went through the normal processes of school and doing okay at some things, excelling in others and not so good in others. But it was really when in my late teens, my mother got sick and I could tell that she was not going to recover. It was quite obvious. And that I really started my, I guess, the process of, you know, what is life. If watching my mother die quite quickly from cancer was kind of like an eye-opener to what's inside, what is life. I don't want to be like that. I don't want that to be my life. So really that's where it began, this kind of looking inwards and sort of starting to read about the mysteries, as Freya called it, or other people's view on life. I grew up in a working class family. I played a lot of sport. I still do. I'm very kind of grounded. I don't come from any tradition or esoterical background whatsoever. I'll just have a drink before I
Okay.
Oh yeah, go on.
You might recognize the mug, Abby.
Oh yeah, Alice loves Green Cat. She's like, they need to make a TV show with Green Cat, and I'm like, well, I'll have to tell Daniel.
Yes, they do. They should
Yes,
make that.
Daniel, did you mention in your intro that you were like a writer and an author
I
and stuff?
think
Did
so.
you even
Yeah,
bring that up? Okay.
I think I did.
Okay.
I do write as well, and this wasn't a plug. It just happened to be the one I had my tea in. And,
No, it's cute.
and I had given Abby some books a while ago, some kids' books.
Yes,
Yeah, I always write.
we
Sorry,
don't
go
have
on.
many English books over here, so they're like the few handful of English books that we have to read, so that's good.
That's really
Yes.
nice. Yeah, I've always, as well as sort of playing the sport as a kid, I wrote poems and short stories, and that's continued. But to get back to where we were, so after my mother had died, my life kind of fell apart a bit. I sort of ran away from home, and even though I was 20, but so you're already away from home. But I sort of went away where no one knew where I was, and I was just trying to sort of, I guess, find answers. But also I felt like even at that moment where I'd run away, I'd started to find myself. Because when my mother was sick, I knew that she wasn't going to make it. It was quite clear that I knew she didn't have the inner resources to fight it. Her life had been quite troubled. And at the time when she was sick, I started reading. In England, there was a place in Bristol called the Bristol Cancer Centre, and they had a lot of information. They were more of a holistic approach, because having seen what the radiotherapy sort of did to my mother, I thought this is just making it worse. So I was sort of searching all over the place, but I was the only one in my family really doing that. Everyone was just obviously too upset and traumatized to do much about it. But I remember very clearly reading a part of this book, and I don't know if it's still going, because this was back in the late 80s. And it was all about, they were recommending visualization and the power of thoughts, and that, you know, past experiences can build up in the body, and this can cause illness too. They weren't negating modern medicine. This was their cancer center went alongside everyone who's going under conventional treatments. They were just sort of adding in, maybe diet has a point to play, maybe past experiences have a point to play, or mental health as well. So that really got me thinking about, my life as well. And after she passed, as I say, it was a very, very difficult period, of course. But then I moved away from my little rural town to the big city of London and started doing things that I wanted to do, because I could see, well, this is what it ends up as. I literally saw death at that age. So I'm going to go and do things I wanted to do. And I just ended up in sort of shared housing, doing courses in dance and acting and all sorts of stuff I hadn't done. And I came across a book called The Drama of Being a Child by Alice Miller. I don't know if that's a book you're aware of.
Yeah, the drama of the gifted child. I am
Yeah,
familiar.
The Drama of Alice Miller. And that was a massive turning point, because it was difficult to read, because a lot of it, and I know other people have had the same experience from reading the book, she was describing parts of my life as a child, when you have mistreatment, or when you have things that go wrong, or the parents aren't available to you, or they mistreat you. And then you do turn inward, and this idea of your true self, your healthy self, gets replaced by a self that has to adapt to the surroundings, but it's not a healthy adaptation. But as a child, you have no choice. And I have friends who can't even get through the book, because if they have too
Yeah,
much sort of difficult stuff inside them, they'll put it down or go, whoa, that's not for me.
yeah, it's a
Friar, I
tough
assume
read.
you read it?
Yeah, it's a tough read. It's
Okay.
equal parts like clinical language and just horrible stories.
Oh, God.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's useful,
Okay.
especially if you find yourself like, I can identify with a whole lot of this. Then there's a lot of further questions behind that. But yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Alice Miller. It was a turning point, and I read some of her other books too, which were there's a couple that really stick in the mind. There's one called Poisonous Pedagogy, which is all about the inherent toxicity of all kind of pedagogy, really, of having this group of people who apparently know things and this group of people who don't, and
Right.
the total power imbalance. And the other one is called For Your Own Good, which is about, it looks into, I think she's German Austrian descent, so it's mainly looking at sort of like parenting over the last 150 200 years in Germany, where she grew up, but also global practices too. And I think by the time she was writing that, she was able to refer to countries like in the Scandinavian countries who had banned, um, the eating of children and stuff, with her experiences and what it had been like in Germany. So yeah, they're all in some ways quite tough reads, but they're also incredibly kind of, like you say, they're generally well researched. There's a lot of clinical stuff. There's a lot of reference material. It's not just someone
Gotcha.
on their soapbox. And she had a career as a kind of clinical, either psychotherapist, I think, or psychologist, until she realized that she was just part of the same pattern of, not that there isn't a lot of good that can become from helping people, but her experience was a lot of people get into the helping professions because they get sort of stuck in their own journey, so it's easier then to look at other people's problems.
Right.
And I have an experience of that myself, because, and again, in the timeline of my life, I got to a certain point and then I ended up in social care because I wanted to help people, but a lot of it is because I'd come a little bit stuck with my stuff. So it seemed
Right.
easier to help other people. And again, it's not negating the good work I did, because I actually, I'm not really a proud person in any way, but some of that work I did, I think, that was tough, and I'm glad I did it. And it's full of admiration for all the people who do that kind of social care work, because it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, for sure.
My best friend is a principal OT in the West Midlands, so I have some understanding of what goes on that side of the
Okay.
house.
Okay.
And
So
OT
yeah,
is it's occupational therapist for those of us who just speak American.
it's in the West Midlands. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually a part of England I don't know very well. Yes, I haven't been to it much.
It's underrated. I have to stand up for my brummies. It's underrated.
It is if you can get I come from a place with a terrible accent, so I can't talk about the Birmingham accent.
Your accent is perfectly serviceable. It's
Yeah, yeah.
perfectly
Oh
English.
no, I totally lost mine when
Oh,
I went
okay.
to London.
Where are you from?
You
Cornwall?
so similar. I'm from Norfolk, which is on the East Coast, and it's a
Okay.
very rural language. When we go back, sometimes my wife has trouble understanding people in shops because the accent is so thick. So
Right.
yeah. So just to stop
There's
stop digressing. Alice Miller, also on the bookshelf of this person's house, was um, Arthur Yanoff's The Primal Scream, which was
okay.
kind of like seminal work in the 70s. And just reading through it, again, it was a difficult read because it talked about sort of boxed up rage and boxed up pain
Okay.
as well. And it kind of plunged me straight back into very early trauma of my time in the incubator and growing up, almost like as I could picture it. And because the resonance with me was so strong, and because I did have some kind of connection to my true self and a lot of good experiences to draw on, I knew that this was something I had to pursue. I had to find out more about it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a book you're familiar with.
No, I haven't read that one. I was
I
going
mean,
to suggest alongside those great books, Complex PTSD by Pete Walker. I don't know if you've read that one.
no, but I know of it because it was on the reading list of a trauma center that I ended up going to in my later years because I had
Okay.
certain periods of recovery where I was literally restructuring my nervous system, which had been
Right.
fried in the incubator. So
Oh,
it's a decades long process of me putting together my limbic system, basically.
wow. So that's a big deal. Like you're not just overcoming like circumstantial trauma. You're talking about like biological poor wiring, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and I think that does, and it happens because of the circumstances. For me, being in an
Yeah.
incubator where I couldn't communicate, there's no one there. That
Right.
bonding, that bonding experience never happened. But literally, the pain of constantly screaming for someone who wasn't there, literally
Yeah.
fried and hardwired my brain. Um, and then with certain physical punishments growing up, it was just adding on the trauma and the sort of the split in the head of the brain, having to compartmentalize certain traumatic experiences.
Right.
So yeah, by the time my mother had died, and then there was no chance of reconnection with her from the early experience, that sort of hole that something was lost. I knew I was sort of rock bottom and knew I had to do something in order to continue. So I
Right.
was when I started reading Yanoff and looking for primal therapists as they were back then in England, I was my resources were very low, and I was very I'd have tried anything because on one level
True.
I was still attending these classes and doing well, and I had friends, so highly functioning on one side, but also knowing that something was deeply wrong on the other side.
Right.
And I don't think that's uncommon too with a
No.
lot of lives. And I think we all sort of cope with fitting in and then our own personal issues and traumas. Yeah.
Yes. So at what point did you sort of make the realization that I'm kind of different from the other people? Like, I have some things that I probably should address. Like that, I'm not like the other kids or the other people.
I don't know, because in some ways I always felt not different, but sometimes distant. But I also, as I say, I fitted in. I did things. I played a lot of sport. So I was always
Okay.
part of teams. I played music in bands. I was so in some ways I didn't feel different. I just felt I was struggling. I felt isolated from parts of myself. And I knew it wasn't going to get any better. I could almost like see the road ahead as if I didn't do anything.
Okay.
And I knew I needed help, but I kind of my father, who was still alive at the time, I confronted him about some of the things that happened, which was on some level helpful, but on another level a big mistake, because you're looking for connection with people who cause some of the problem.
Right.
And unless they're in a space where they're ready to sort of realize, you're kind of risking just repeating the damage.
Right. And you're asking someone to be self-reflective that was not self-reflective. And usually that just doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and it's generational trauma too, isn't it? As you know, other people have been through all sorts of stuff, and so unless they've gone on an healing journey themselves, they're not going to be in a spot to be able to reach out to. And my father was also someone, in that generation, they actually grew up when the war was on, so it's kind of like
right.
just trauma all the way, all
yeah.
around.
And they just don't recognize it, and they just, as my friend likes to say, just get on with it.
Yeah, you just get on with it. And I just think that's, as a human race, that's what we've always we still have to do. There is no real option other than just getting on with it.
Right. So what is the name of the modality that you practice? Does it have a name, or?
No, it doesn't. I don't come from any tradition, any training.
Okay.
We're kind of at the point where I discovered something, though.
Ooh.
Because I did sign up to go to some sort of trauma help in London. I was living in London. I found a place that did it. And actually, two of the people who were in it had actually trained under Yanov. So but they had broken away, because even though they saw he was a good technician, they didn't feel that his bedside manner wasn't,
Right.
It was more about the relationship with the therapist than just knowing the theory, if you like. So I was on the waiting list, and there was quite a long waiting list. So I just didn't want to do anything. And there was something in one of the Alice Miller's books about a series of steps to get in touch with repressed emotions. But this wasn't something to sort of be undertaken lightly. It was kind of, I think she always turned like a healing confrontation with your own past. And at the time, I felt I had no option, because I was getting to the point where, if not suicidal, it almost like, well, I've seen my mother die, I'm gonna end up like this anyway. So I don't particularly want to suffer for the next however many years.
Okay.
So I sort of embarked on this sort of self healing. I found myself a flat in East London, where I could make noise if need be. And I just gradually did this process where I uncovered deep feelings and experiences and what I was really feeling. And that was accompanied by the most heavy sessions of sobbing and deep sobbing and screaming and all sorts of things, and almost confronting everything that was within me. And at the same point as I was doing this, occasionally things would feel like they were grabbing hold of me, and I'd end up spitting them out. It was almost like I was chasing this thing around my body, this feeling. And I would spit it out, and it would feel like, it would almost feel like, I haven't had an asthma attack. Fortunately, I haven't suffered from that. But I have been sick from drinking too much tequila, and that kind of feeling was a little bit like that, but it almost felt like I had to get this thing out.
Okay.
And it just kept coming again. But once it had come out, the relief was tremendous.
Right.
And at the time I was unemployed, I was still doing some part-time classes, so my resources financially were really low, but I had the time to do this. And I was determined to sort of get to the bottom of me, if you like. So I kept on day after day. I even recorded the sessions so I could listen to myself, but they were just too horrific to listen
Yeah.
to myself screaming and crying. But something shifted, something physically shifted in me, especially every time that I coughed something out, it felt fantastic. Something had gone.
And you're talking
And
about literal, just to be clear, literal coughing and spitting.
yeah, literal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had a towel. I had towels ready because there was a
Wow.
lot of it. Just getting stuff out. And it felt like I was getting rid of a lot of repressed emotion, a lot of repressed trauma.
Did you experience these things as almost independent intelligences?
You know, it's only looking back that occasionally I think it felt like it was something. But again,
Okay.
I didn't have any background or, you know, as I said, I was just very kind of down to
Sure.
earth person, and I still am. I mean, I play golf, you know, quite well, quite well.
Those are your normative credentials.
You know, I play golf. I do all the things.
Okay.
But so yeah, I don't know. I know that I did have some pretty terrifying dreams at the time,
Okay.
but I think it was a crash. I imagine on some ways with what was going on, I was just reopening old wounds as well. So in some ways it was helping, but I had no way to fix everything. But this 4-step process was very good. It definitely it felt like changed my physiology. It changed things. But the world seemed a little stranger after it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I still had good friends. It wasn't really people I could talk to about it. Um, but by the time it came for me to go to and have some trauma primal therapy, in my head, I thought, well, this is what it is. People in rooms spitting out stuff and really getting that stuff out. And so I was almost in my head, naive. I was in only my early 20s, 22, 23.
Okay.
I was thinking, well, this is what it is. It's everyone goes in and spits out their junk, their past traumas. And the guy is fantastic, but clearly had no. When I started doing this, was just asked me if I was okay, and then I kind of realized that he was there, and for the first time, I was in this vulnerable state, almost like an infant, and I had someone there. And actually, it took a different course because I had a lot of attachment issues because of the early experience. And actually, the therapy I had with this therapist lasted a long time, but it only lasted in different. I'd get to a certain level, then I wouldn't need it, then I'd get stuck and go back. So I think over the course of about 25 years, I had 4 periods where I was with him for 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And each time I made progress. And without jumping the gun, the bigger progress I made with that is when his practice started doing EMDR. I don't know, which is eye motion.
I don't know what that is.
I do.
Fred might be able to explain it better than I do because I can't always
What's it
remember.
stand for? I can fill in the blanks.
Eye movement desensitization.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Which is basically a reprogramming and
Yeah.
rewiring of the brain. And when that was just a huge shift. That was just a huge shift. That was sort of my late 30s. Because I kind of got stuck, and from 25 to 35, I was just in the holding pattern. And then
Happens.
when that kicked in, when the EMDR, my life opened out hugely. It was just absolutely fantastic. I was able to reprocess a lot, and things just became, instead of painful memories, they just became things that could happen, had happened, and I didn't need to think about them anymore. So yeah, and it's part of the National Health Service for PTSD.
Okay.
Recovery. So it was developed in California, I think, but it's been hugely successful. I know a lot of veterans who have kids. It works very effectively. This EMDR, it's a fantastic thing. But because over the years I've built up such a strong relationship at the different points with the therapy, so my attachment issues had kind of dwindled. the EMDR was probably even more effective. So it took a long time, took a long time to get there.
Oh,
And so yeah, and I kind of still felt a little bit. And then my life changed quite a bit. And the next few years, I moved jobs and moved countries and started a family and all that kind of stuff. So massive changing from that original early 20s, desperation. But
okay.
a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
and knowing that I had to, and then reading a lot about trauma, what happens to the brain under trauma and where things get. But my hypothalamus was screwed up for a long time, being able to tell. That's a typical PTSD thing about knowing where and when things are happening. So yeah.
So,
That's a plot twist.
then you ran into Abby,
Yeah, then I ran out of it.
Like you do.
and Abby told you some things about
Yeah,
you. And if I recall, seems like
yeah,
that made you reflect back on those earlier experiences. And I don't know, we didn't talk for a few years, so I know there was like changes even between those. If you guys don't know out there, if you
yeah,
didn't watch, I dropped off the face of the earth for a couple of years
yeah.
to readjust and collect myself, and it was great. And I'm only partially back. Like I'm not fully back to the land of the living, and I don't know that I ever will be, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Daniel, can I tell people a little bit about what I saw when I looked at you psychically? Are you all right with that?
Yeah, I am, because I say I hadn't. Yeah, I'll shut up and let you talk. Shut up.
Well, I don't know how much it will be. So, did we do psychic development with you, or were we just talking? We never did like a formal training or anything or
No,
class or.
I paid for a few sessions.
Okay, that's what I thought. I
Did a
couldn't
few
remember for
sessions,
sure.
then we ended
Yeah.
up reciprocating. But
So,
anyway,
Daniel's one of those people where when you look at them, they don't look like a normal. So now I'm going to talk about you like you're not here.
it's okay.
Uh, they're not a normal human soul. And I don't know what that means. I'm not putting a label on it I'm not saying, oh, he's a star seed or, oh, no. Like, I'm not doing any of those things. I'm just telling you, he's not like a normal human soul. Like, whatever frequency he's on in there, whatever is going on the outside is irrelevant. Something on the inside is this higher level, frequency. And I know this because, we kind of tested it out. I had him take a look psychically at some negative entities where we knew we were having like paranormal activity in the house and stuff. And I had him take a look, and he was able to, with just his presence, scare said entity away. Now, I do that when I go to a place, not scare them away, but they run room to room, some of them. I know that sounds ridiculous. That's literally what happens, and you can even see it on with the motion sensors and stuff. But I'm a very type A,
Mhm.
like I go in like a ball of fire. Um, Daniel's not the same. He's not coming at it from he's not in fight mode when he's looking at these things. So it's a little bit different. And just his presence was like scaring these things away. I've since sent some people to you. I don't know if they ever got a hold of you or what I know at least one person did.
Yeah,
And
I
said
I
that it
got a
helped.
few came my way. Yeah,
Yeah. So he's doing something like energetically without even trying, just his looking at things. Um, yes, thanks, Friar. The Enneagram 8 in action, yes. Daniel, did you do the Enneagram thing? Did you ever do the little test or whatever?
no, I
Oh,
don't
okay.
even know.
All right. All right, that's fine. I don't really know a whole lot about it either, but it comes up a lot on these calls for whatever reason.
My
So,
fault.
yeah, so when I got back in touch with Daniel, or he got in touch with me actually, because, dropped off the face of the earth situation, he was talking about doing like this, what did you call it?
Well, really, it's really a cage clearance, because when I see people, it's almost like I can see this cage around them,
Okay.
and and sort of having access to when I was trying to remove stuff without sort of jumping in and hijacking your bit of the conversation. I did some Reiki training after doing some massage training because I felt that, and I ended up working in a hospital as a volunteer, just going around. They would, you know, because it was the hospital I actually got the training at, and so I was kind of tuning into people in there. So when I was like, whoa, I'm seeing way too much stuff that I have no idea what it is. But it just felt like people had this kind of cage around, and Reiki sort of went out the window, and I'd feel like I was trying to get this stuff off them, you know. And one person said, wow, actually feels like these things are coming out of me, and now, you know, so that's when I thought, oh, there's something, people have got this stuff around them. So
Well, so Daniel volunteered to do the energy clearing. I've already forgot what your technical, the cage clearing.
I just call it distance clearance is what I call it,
Okay,
because I don't really,
yeah, that's good as any,
I don't know
anything else.
what,
Yeah. He told me the time he was gonna do it, and it is very interesting because I was on carnivore at the time, and I was also fasting, I believe. So I was not in a position to have any type of blood sugar issues. I do have reactive hypoglycemia. It comes on about 4 to 5 hours after eating, and it sucks. It's like a wave of nausea and lots of, shaking and whatnot. So I was writing and I was having a good day. I wasn't doing anything particularly stressful. I was just kind of relaxing before some of my calls. It was like early afternoon for me. And I started feeling really shaky. It wasn't nauseous or anything, but I noticed, I'm like, man, I just feel kind of shaky. And the best thing I can equate it to was having that feeling of, oh, I need something, I need like sugar, my blood sugar is dropping. That was the only thing I could compare it to. It wasn't real bad, but it was noticeable. So I ended up going for a walk and like just to the store, I just walked my dogs. It's like 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, maybe less. And it was gone. The feeling was gone, which if you guys have any blood sugar issues, that's not how blood sugar works. Okay. You don't just like walk it off. So I knew something was going on because I haven't had that feeling it's probably been a few years. It's been a really, really long time. So one of the things he told me to watch out for, and one of the reasons like he suggested even doing it, and you can backdate this, Daniel, and explain it a little bit better. He was saying like, people's lives just seem to get better, like stuff just starts, to kind of fall into place a little bit more after they do the clearing. So I was confident maybe something would happen, but you got to understand my life is I do the same thing at the same time every single day. I have no stress except periodically the spouse, will get on my nerve, that type of thing, just the basic stuff. But it's like it's not serious. It's nothing big. So I wasn't sure what type of benefit, like the long-term benefit I would experience. And Daniel was going to ask me, or he did ask me when we got on the call before we actually started the live stream, what that was like in the following weeks. And I didn't tell him because I wanted to save it. But so I write, if you guys don't know, I write nonfiction and fiction. But I've been working on this fictional series. Don't ask me for it. I won't give it to you. I'm not going to tell you about it. And Daniel's laughing because he probably knows why. And I assume Friar's probably laughing too. Yes. So it's not appropriate for all audiences. We will put it that way. But I've been working on this series literally like my entire life. And without going into all the details, within like a couple of days after that, something clicked. And this thing that has been blocking me in relation to my writing, which is actually pretty huge, just went away. And all of a sudden, so if you could, and it's not that I had writer's block, it was writer's block in relation to a very specific thing, and I'm not going to bore you with it, but if you could make that a tangible thing and then all of a sudden get rid of it, if you guys are writers out there, you know what writer's block sucks, right? You're like stuck and you don't know what to do. It's like literally taking it and just like chucking it out and it was gone. And then all of a sudden, like it was just flowing very easily. And all of the stuff that I've been working on, like in a very specific category of the series, just started to come out. And it was one of those things. So sometimes, again, writers out there, you may or may not know, you get into the zone for a while and you're like on fire. And then like something else comes up and you're like, okay, well now I'm like, stop, I'm blocked and stopped again. I expected something like that to happen because this is a monumental undertaking, what I'm talking about over here on my end. And it just never did. And I expected to like second guess myself, which I also do. I'm like, oh, maybe I don't like that. Maybe I got to go back and tweak this. And there wasn't any of this. So Daniel, I know that probably wasn't like the type of thing you were looking for, expecting when, you know, you were like, you work with other people and do their clean. But to me, like that's my writing is a massive part of my life purpose, my spiritual purpose, and like just being here. So, I mean, sure, we could. I don't know what the other people have experienced and how their lives have gotten better, but for me, that was like a, you know, that's a really
That's
big deal.
that's fantastic, and it's also I'm I'm not usually one who will say when someone gives me their experience, I don't want to jump in with my experience. But just because it was so similar, and getting back to the clearance, I'd got to a certain, and I just want to put this bit in context because it ties everything up. And I want to come back to what you've just said, and thank you for the feedback because it is different for everyone, and for sure. I'd got again to a certain stage in my life, and I knew something was still stuck with me. I'd got so far and I was so pleased with how the rewiring of my brain and everything. I was going through a day without panic attacks, but I knew something was still stopping me from launching off into what I knew my life could be. And then the pandemic came. I thought, no, I'll write because I'm like you. I write. I was writing books, all sorts, and I was stuck. I was stuck. I couldn't do it. So I was just goofing off on the internet, and then I found this video on YouTube, and it might have been because I was listening to meditation music or whatever. My feed came up, and it was of these people somewhere, and they were like, I thought, what's this? And it was like people getting rid of demonic possession or something. It was something. It was quite. It wasn't well shot footage, but I had to stop because what they were doing, what I could hear, the guttural sounds, was the exact sounds and contortions that I was making back in London in my early 20s when I was on my own, going through this therapeutic experience of getting out old emotion. And it just kind of caught my attention, like, whoa, what the hell is this? And started to read more about it, and then it was all this tradition of, oh, some of it was like South American Peru or even Uruguay or somewhere, and shamanic, and this almost like exorcism type thing of taking on an entity and then spitting it out. And so I was trying to liken that to what I was doing. And there's almost like, and then reading more about it. And there were some horrible rabbit holes I got down, and it's like, and I'm a very pragmatic person, so I don't care. Just what could be useful. And I ended up finding someone who did this thing, this similar cage removal. And I thought, okay, well, I did a lot of this, and there's probably stuff I can't see because I am me. And so I got it done on myself. I got it done on myself. I paid to have it done. And whatever it got rid of, I can remember driving and thinking, oh, they're doing it because something, I just felt different. And then it was a pandemic. I'd been doing some acting, but no one was acting. I'd been doing some writing, but I got blocked, and it was like, I'm going to write plays for these bunch of actors. And within 6 or 7 months, I'd written hours and hours of radio plays, and I formed this kind of almost like troupe And we produced it, we recorded them, and we put them out. And like you, I was waiting. This is why this really uncanny. You say I was waiting for the bit that's going to sort of like take my writing away and stop me writing, and it wasn't there. So much was no longer there. And I thought this and other things with, I'm not going to reveal too much, but other things in my life that I'd got so far with but had never gone the extra mile to get rid of were going. Things were falling away and they weren't coming back. For the first time, things weren't coming back. And that's when I knew whatever external, I'd got rid of so much from myself inside, whatever external that I couldn't see that I got rid of. And it's just, I mean, my health since then, it was never bad. I've always looked after myself, but apart from getting COVID, you know, things have definitely changed. And that's when I started to think about it for two or so years, linking it back to my experiences of trauma and attachment, my experiences of Reiki, my experiences as a massage therapist, and thinking,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
and just thinking, perhaps there's something I could do which is similar. And that's because I had the confidence just to attempt things now. I just sort of tried it. So
When you described it to me, because we talked about it for like an hour or so, I think. I got the sense, now this is my brain filling in the gaps and, you know, creating an image based on what you're telling me, or what you were telling me at the time. The sense I got was if like and I'm not saying this is what you said, this is just what I was picking up. Like if your soul is this oval shaped light, you know, this, you know, person shaped light or something. I saw like these kind of big black spaces, and to me, and I asked you a bunch of times, like, is it intelligent, is it alive or whatever? Because to me they seemed like almost like leeches, but some sort of interdimensional energetic something or other. And you made it sound like it was more just the emotion, but in my like my when I don't know what it was, my intuition or whatever, picking it up, like it definitely seemed more, they seem kind of alive. They seem like, oh, actually, that's a really good Friar's thing. When they get stuck in the transporter, aren't there some sort of creatures in the
Yes.
transporter device? That's right.
Yeah. I
That's
deal
what
with
it,
them all the time.
yeah, that's what it reminded me of. So Star Trek reference, sorry, you guys. You got if that episode on Next Generation where they Friar gets stuck in, well, not actual Friar, but somebody gets stuck in the transporter
Barkley.
thing. They're having the at Barkley, right?
Yeah.
Yes. There's some sort of creatures in there with them, and that's very close to the sense that I got. It's like this in between place, because I don't know. That's just what I got. But I also might be filling in the blanks because, like I said, Daniel, I know what your spirit looks like compared to other people's, and I've seen you chase away entities, and so I suspected some time ago that you had some deeper ability to like tune into those nasty things and get rid of them, which is not something you see very often, which is why, you know, it stood out.
I kind of took on board what you said because there was a resonance of helping people, and but it's almost like I've been through so many processes myself to heal the physical body and sort of literally rewire my brain. It's only because now I don't have panic attacks. I know that as a kid I had about 10 or 12 a day, you know, growing up. It was that bad. So now I know. And as I say, I feel like I'm very grounded. So a lot of this stuff I still don't I don't have words for it, and I don't see things. I've never seen a ghost. I've never seen a spirit. I don't see things.
I don't suspect you will because they're probably running away.
I know. I have a friend who's a medium, and I'm not allowed to come to her gallery readings.
I believe it.
She says you can't come. So I don't interact with anything, and the process that I did with Abby is just, it feels like a physical, it feels like I'm doing the grunt work. I'm just literally seeing of kind of sensing where this stuff is, grabbing hold of it and spitting it out. And then the person in my mind's eye then looks a lot clearer. Whereas before they look a bit sort of sludgy.
Did I
And
look
things
sludgy?
sort of a little bit. Only the same as everyone. It wasn't
Oh,
any
okay.
real. Everyone looks fairly similar.
Okay.
Occasionally, some people are sort of look a little darker, but again, I don't really stop and look. It's like I've got stuff to do in the yard, so I'm going to go and get it out. It just feels very practical. It's quite tiring. It's quite demanding, but it feels physical, and then it's done.
Okay.
So it usually takes anyway 45 to 75 minutes seems to be the time frame.
Gotcha.
The younger the person, there's just the less buildup of experiences and crap.
So you think that's what it is? It's more like the experiences people have?
I'm going to be 100% honest and say I don't know what it is, and I don't care what it is. I just know
Okay.
people are better
That's
off
fair.
without it. There probably is lots of people who've got lots of theories, but as I say, I do it and then I get on. I do the laundry. I get on with my day. I don't
Right.
dwell on it. And if it hadn't been from feedback from people, and I have done a couple in person with people I trust, I would think I was half crazy because there's no real feedback. It's not like raking my leaves and I can see they've gone. As I say, if it hasn't been from the feedback from people and people referring their friends and other family members onto me, then I would have thought I was, I don't know, just
Right.
having fun in my head. But it clearly is something else.
Have you ever tried to like find out more about this? Like try to find, I don't know, an esoteric system or an authoritative person that you trust to better explain this, or do you just don't care?
No, part of me, because at the age I am now and what I've been through and what I discovered on my own, that's enough for me. My
Okay.
experience has always been the thing, my benchmark, because I didn't and some of that might be just being a child who wasn't particularly closely attached to his family, that I've sort of had this self-reliance. But I think I'm not sure because of the physiological experiences I've gone through, and I can see the progression and where I am now to where I was. I don't know if there's any. I don't know if I need any more sort of like
Okay.
But I understand. But I also don't know because I know everyone's got such a different view on the world as well. So different
Right.
experiences and different traditions, you know. So yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked because I haven't felt, but I do know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess looking back on what you've told us, it does make a certain amount of sense because your experience of the trauma, in so much as it was like a independent physical somatic entity, like you felt it, um,
Yeah.
would lead you to be more interested in this phenomenology as just pure experience. So to me, it makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah, and it might be something else. And as I say, it doesn't. On some level, it doesn't matter because I've got a friend who's an amazing hand reader. I mean, he's been doing it since he was
Right.
um, he's been doing it since he was like a teen, and he talks about he doesn't know how his car works, but it does.
Sure. Like
And
flip
it's
a
a bit
light
like
switch and the light comes on. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a bit like I remember as a kid listening to the radio in my bedroom and knowing that this show was coming from London. It's like, how the hell does that happen? And I still
Right.
don't really understand much, if I'm honest. I'm not I'm kind of practically educated. I'm not an educated guy.
Right, you golf. Yes.
I golf,
Right.
I write books.
Right.
I golf. I'm a massage therapist, which is very hand-on, very sort of physical.
I think it's always so when you hear about some scientist or like when you hear about Nikola Tesla created like a ghost box because he was having weird stuff happen in his room. Like you take somebody like that more seriously than you do somebody who's their room's full of tarot cards and crystals and incense and stuff. Just because you know, at least I do. I think that's the norm. So I probably, I'm real big on uh learning through experience, especially on the spiritual side. Um, and because well, on the one hand, for that reason, I don't want somebody to feed me the answers, and like tell me what I'm supposed to feel or what it's supposed to be like. I mean, so a little bit of that once in a while is okay. So I mean, I would imagine it's probably helpful to know that you come from a more of a practical, grounded background as opposed to like some new age cults of your choice. Um, that said,
No,
though, there's definitely um like lots of different folk traditions and shamanic practices around the world, and all different kinds of cultures do the like spitting in particular to remove like negativity and negative entities. That's definitely it's out there. It's probably it's not like a mainstream thing. I don't think you'd see that in your standard esoteric handbook. I don't know, Friar, can you can you back me up on that?
That's on page
Oh,
394.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
no, what it reminded me immediately of was like ayahuasca ceremonies, right? Where people are just expelling, and I'm not going to elaborate.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Like, no, projectile vomit and sometimes from the other direction
Yeah,
too, I believe.
just
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like a Christmas cracker, but different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought when we were talking about like physically actually expelling bits, that required a towel or something. Like it's like,
yeah.
that sounds very ayahuasca-y, but without the wild hallucinations. Or maybe there were.
Okay.
You didn't elaborate, but I'm assuming there weren't.
Oh, there's no hallucinations. No, I have heard. Now you mention that, I've got a friend who's of Uruguayan descent, and I think she might have mentioned it when I spoke to her about it. She
Right.
might have mentioned that. I'll have to go back and check. Where is that from? That you were talking about?
The ayahuasca, it's
Yeah, I was.
I believe it's Central America and it may be located in a specific area, but
Okay.
and it probably originated from a specific area, but there are a number of practitioners there and here. It's a growing practice. I know that there's a place in Florida that does it. A friend of mine went several times,
Okay.
and Kentucky, they do it too under the auspices of like religious protection. They passed this really strong religious protection bill, and it was meant for Christians, but people figured out by the letter of the law they could really get away with stuff. So they do ayahuasca in Kentucky.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Look up astrology says you can do it in Portland. You can do anything in Portland except be free. Yeah, there's a bunch of ayahuasca bros like rolling around this country for sure.
That's
Yeah. I don't know
interesting.
where you guys are at in the conversation, but I had a thought and I don't want to lose it. So do
Do
you
it.
think, how people they do ayahuasca or iboga or whatever, and they're expelling their guts basically, but then they come out of it feeling, like all of a sudden they don't have these addictions, and they've dissolved their ego to a large extent, and they like it like totally changes their lives. Do you think, because that's not one of the selling points, like, hey, eat this plant, you're gonna puke your guts out, and also like all these negative
Right.
entities and energies at the same time. Do you think maybe that's what's partially going on?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. But I think it's also important for people. I've lost my train of thought there, totally.
I don't know
I
what you were
mean,
gonna say.
no, I don't know what I was going to say. I was just going to say, yeah, it could possibly be. I've got no kind of comparison, really. As I say, I just people are finding me. People are
Okay.
now finding, and I'm kind of booked up mid, sort of first week or so of January because I don't do much of it because it's quite demanding, but. And I've had to think about it very differently because at the beginning I was almost like, yeah, I can do this to help, and then a couple of my sort of close friends who have been more involved in this kind of field and said, no, this is valuable. You have to see it as valuable, and you have to price yourself accordingly. So I've been sort of thinking about that sort of energy exchange, because I've
Right.
had some people come back to me, and it's someone you sent, Abby, who I'd forgotten about, who I helped like 6 or 7 years ago, who's having another problem. And I can kind of remember doing something for him, and he said, you wouldn't let me pay at the time, but I'm going to pay now. So I've come to see it as, just because it doesn't, especially some of the ghost stuff doesn't come that difficult to me, it doesn't mean that it isn't difficult, and it's got its toll. So to have an energetic exchange. So yeah.
It also acts as like a trigger on their end to open up and like, no, this is like, I'm doing this, I'm dedicating it. It's just they're taking their chicken and doing the sacrifice, you know, it's just in the form of money.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's this exchange. And actually, I'm having seen the benefit I know to people, or the changes, and it is very different in everyone. And I started it about 18 months ago. I did a couple of people, and I can see their lives where they are. And there's lots of other things. I'm not saying this is the only thing that's helped their lives, but there are certain things where I can just see certain parts of people's lives have calmed down, or they aren't, or they just look a little healthier. Or, and I say feeling a bit lighter is usually the most feedback. Well, I don't get much feedback, so hearing from you is great, because people just generally just going off and living their lives.
Yeah, they just go about their business. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
hearing about you and your writing was very was nice to hear that you're writing, but also just such a similar experience as well.
Well, you know, I wasn't though, because I was in one of those stuck periods where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna, because I do track, like on my calendar, I write down what I'm doing, because, you know, I think normal people do that, right? And I color code everything, but I went back and I hadn't been writing for like a while. And I had planned to write when it started in the winter, but it was too it wasn't just that I started writing again, because I can just do that, you know, any day. It was the flow was just massive, and just haven't looked back, you know.
That's cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
And you were able to write your dinosaur romance novels freely. It's cool.
Yes, that's what they are. That's
That's what they
definitely
are.
what's,
You can admit
yes.
it finally on
Yeah,
this show today.
yeah.
Good job.
Jurassic Romance. Look it up.
You know what? Dinosaur romance novels are real.
I don't doubt it for a second. I don't doubt it. If you can imagine it, somebody's
written it.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, somebody's into it. Like whatever you can come up with, somebody
Okay.
does that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Sounds like a good time to segue into some astrology here. Let's go. Let's pop this up.
Astrologos.
Yes. Can you guys see my screen?
I can. I see all
All
them
right,
ghosties.
fantastic. Daniel, where are you at with like astrology? We never really talked about that. We always talked about like psychic stuff.
I don't I know sort of little bits about it. It's one of the things I kind of read about in my early 20s when I was just reading everything, but
Okay.
I don't pay, because you
I
then
think,
told me about Sidereal, and it's like it got too complicated for me.
well, yes, I always think that's good. When I ask people, I usually ask them before they do a reading with me, how much do you know about astrology? And the less they know, the better, because then I don't have to reteach you, and I don't have to fight with your pre-existing biases about what's going on in the sky. But the big one people have is when they realize that their sun sign is nowhere near where they have been told. So if you look up, I believe you guys help me out. Is the tropical say that we're in Sagittarius, that the sun's in Sagittarius right now?
I have
Well,
no idea.
December,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, as you can see, Daniel, the sun is nowhere near Sagittarius. This program that I use is called Stellarium. And it's actually planetarium software. You can hook your camera or your video camera up to like take pictures of the night sky. I mean, it's awesome. But astrologically or astronomically, the planets where most people say they are not anywhere where they say they are. So what we're looking at today is the actual location of the planets in the sky, and that is sidereal astrology. So basically what's going on here, and this is for everybody, all 8 billion people on the planet, and obviously how this affects individuals. It has to be general for that very nature, but how it affects the individual does depend on their natal chart. For example, if you have something right here between the legs of Ophiuchus, this is going to be a more intense time for you and that planet based on, compared to what it might be for everyone else. However, that said, this whole portion of the sky, so this right here, I used to be able to find it. Like I used to be able to search for the galactic center, and for some reason I can't pinpoint it, but it's like right in this area.
Yeah.
And almost every ancient culture who has some story about the Milky Way, the band of the Milky Way, has something that, like, it always has something to do with the ancestors or the gods, the afterlife, something along those lines. That's not a coincidence. This is the literal center of the galaxy, and we're just, it kind of acts the way I like to describe it. It acts as a macrocosmic representation of the crown chakra. And when you have planets in here, it kind of tunes this in, and you just start getting more and more information. So everybody all over the world does benefit from increased intuition. I realize that in the Southern Hemisphere, we're almost to midsummer, and a lot of people, especially in the West, think of midwinter as being the time of death and darkness and whatnot, but that only applies obviously to the Northern Hemisphere. However, in Mesopotamia, the summer solstice was the time of death. That was like the season of death, when Cancer was rising in the sky. So we don't get too wrapped up in the seasonal meanings, but this over here with the sun entering does kick in everybody's psychic abilities to a larger degree. And we can, if I were to sit down with anybody on the planet, I could probably pinpoint where these things were happening. Not to, what's that called? Blow your own whistle or whatever.
Toot your own horn.
Set off your own firework. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like it's trackable. Okay. It's math. I know Friar doesn't get on board with this particular type of math, but I'm telling you it's trackable. It's doable. So anyways, that said, this side of Ophiuchus, this picture right here was not originally a guy holding a snake with no legs. He was a guy with two snakes for legs, and he was holding them kind of like this. I don't know if you can see my picture or anything, or like as I'm talking, if you can see me. But as when the image got transmitted to Greece, he never got any legs. That's why he still doesn't have any legs, but he still has, this guy holding these two snakes. He was likely a god known as Nera, although we could make a case for him being associated or a representation of Ningish Zeta. And if you guys are familiar with the libation vase of Gudea, that is a vase from the Old Sumerian period with the two snakes winding up the staff, basically, which is still the basis for the staff of Hermes, the caduceus, and some other medical symbolism that goes all the way back to Mesopotamia. Namely because this snake deity, this underworld deity, was a master healer. They were all master healers. Snakes were associated with regeneration and healing and wisdom and knowledge. As a matter of fact, all these, not all of them, but most of the underworld deities in Mesopotamia were just master healers. Now, I have found through my much data analysis and my tracking like a psychopath that this side of Ophiuchus, and thus the head part of Antares, usually increases the healing as far as it goes. What do we want to say? Like more emotional healing. It's more like the counseling, the therapy, stuff, compassionate listening like Friar does. Whereas on this side, you tend to get an increase with your, I don't want to call it traditional medicine. Like it can be Western medicine, but it's more hands-on stuff. So even massage therapy, anywhere from that to, herbal therapy. It's just more physical and tangible. So anybody out there right now who you're looking for a time to really heal your body, really, start some like a workout regimen, a new diet, like this is definitely the time to do it. Don't wait until January 1st. I mean, I realize that's only a few weeks away, but still, like, just take advantage of it. This stuff is all here for you to take advantage of. It's just a weather forecast. And it's just these resonant energies. And if you want to use them, great. If you don't, I mean, that's fine too. Whatever. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to. All right, so over here, Venus is entering Capricorn. Now, in traditional astrology, this constellation sucks. It's no fun, and it's like the worst one. Well, that and Cancer. Nobody likes Cancer. When you tell them they're not actually a Leo or um, a Gemini, that they're really a Cancer, they get really bummed out because the modern associations are really lame. But Capricorn was awesome. This was Tashmetu. She was a goddess. She was called the divine doctress, the grantor of requests, and she pretty much just did awesome stuff for people. They would pray to her for any type of healing they needed. She did have an association with animals, dogs and cats in particular. And also she had some loyalty associations. She was, in some contexts, the wife of Pabelsang. She was synonymous with this goddess known as Bao, who was the wife of Ninurta, who is over here. And so they're kind of like a husband-wife pair over here. But anytime we have a strong Capricorn, we're increasing our desire and to love and nurture and be selfless. So long as you're like a pretty, normal, well put together person. Obviously, if you're dealing with all of your drama and trauma, I mean, it's not going to flow quite as easily. That said, Venus's placement here turns this on for everyone. It makes all of us more empathic, which is not always a good thing, especially if you're in a toxic relationship or an environment when you're like picking up other people's stuff that can actually suck really bad. So hopefully you're working on your body, you're doing your self-healing, energy healing, you're reaching out to whoever you need to, whether it's Daniel or Friar or whoever. But this is a really good time, again, to do any type of healing. I think that this softens Venus. Venus she was the goddess of war and victory. I mean, she was the goddess of a lot of things, but she does have those traits. Sometimes she was known to wear a beard, as they say, because she would be very aggressive and kind of hyper masculine, but her placement here is going to kick in her maternal side. If you do creative work, this becomes a very fertile placement. I mean, technically, if you are trying to have babies, this can be a very fertile placement for you too. But overall, it is it gives us all a lot more energy to pour into the people, the projects, and the things that we care and we love. So hopefully you're taking advantage of that. Saturn's still swinging back and forth here through Aquarius, so no big news over here. The moon's whipping around the sky every day, a few hours. It keeps going, so we're not going to focus too much on that. Jupiter's still here in the Hyades. This is an extremely creative and curious placement. So if you do any type of writing like yours truly, or Daniel, or Friar too, I think we have a lot of writers out there.
Yeah.
This is definitely a good time for you. It can give you, it increases people's focus, so long as you are fulfilling your spiritual purpose. And I say that because of this close connection to Aldebaran, which is, this was the bull's jaw, or the crown of Anu, who is the supreme celestial deity, or the creator father god in Mesopotamia. And the whole bull energy here in Taurus, it doesn't have anything to do with being stubborn or lazy or what's some of the other ones, decadent, like none of that stuff. It was all about divine power and being a servant of God. And really what they're talking about is being a servant of your higher calling, your purpose, your dharma, fulfilling your purpose here in this lifetime. So if you're doing those things, you will notice, now this is a long transit, but you should notice that it comes a lot easier. Now Mars is still moving. I think he already went retrograde a few days back, if I'm not mistaken. But he's going to be moving back towards Gemini. Doesn't matter. This whole portion of the sky is kind of his dwelling. So what I said before about Cancer being rising at the time of the midsummer in, the ancient world, this was the dead dry season. And for that reason, this was one of the entrances to the underworld in the celestial sphere. I say underworld, it's not a good translation, you guys. It really should be translated as great place or something like that. And there were entrances all over the earth in the sky. It's not like it was just one thing. But anyways, Mars was the god of the underworld. So this is him being right at home. Now I won't bore you with all the stories today, because if you watch these live streams or watched any of my videos or had a reading with me, you probably already know all this. But he enjoys a very stable romance with his consort, the queen of the underworld, Resh Kigal, and this is basically him just being on top of his game. So in some places he can be really hyper masculine, really aggressive, kind of maybe easy to manipulate or manipulative himself. But here in Cancer, he's right at home. Now, if you have a strong Mars or Cancer in your chart, this can probably intensify some of your natural traits to be more in your head, in your space. But this is the perfect time to go down deep and start doing all of your dark, deep, dark inner work. Okay. However you want to do that. You got a lot of options. But whether you're doing it through meditation or energy clearing or anything like that, you gotta go in and face all of your bullshit. You have to get rid of it. You're not gonna be you until you get rid of this stuff. And I think we talked, I don't know if we talked on the meditation call or if it was one of our guests in recent weeks had mentioned it, but was it, I don't know who it was. Was it Maria who said it about
Could have been.
like you have to clean your house more than like once. It's not a one and done situation. Like you got to keep going in and, like removing
Yeah.
all the junk and the clutter. I think that's who said it. But that was a really good analogy. So, do those things, like this is the time to do it. And everybody who does that while Mars is here is going to be benefited from it. So, it's definitely a plus. I didn't really talk about Mercury, namely because I didn't see it. It's tiny over here. But Mercury over here by Antares, who was the Lisi goddess, she was able to soothe the hearts of angry deities. And basically, if you have a strong Antares in the chart, it's going to bring the crazies out of the woodwork, probably to you, so that you can solve their problems, or at least help them solve their problems. But if you have a career like that, Mercury is going to bring these people to you. It's going to allow you to listen a little bit better, really tap into the needs of others. This is even Libra, a little bit of Scorpio is a very entrepreneurial placement, so that's definitely favorable. It's also a very creative placement. Mercury in Mesopotamia was a creative planet. It was associated with water, so not the air element, and water was the creative element. It was associated with curiosity and writing and knowledge and all of the cognitive work. So this is really bringing in, it's making us all able to listen a little bit better and kind of read the room. All right. I think I have rambled quite enough. Nikki's not here, so Friar, did you want to take a crack at any of these? Do you have any commentary on it?
No, I'm not a cracker. Although I will say that the goatfish, if you will, is not considered bad within the confines of Golden Dawn stuff.
Oh, good. What is it
It's
considered?
it's merciful Earth, really.
Oh, well, I like that way better. That's way
Yeah,
better than the
it's
traditional
yeah,
cold and domineering and douchebaggy. Like, that's no good. I think that's the technical word that they use too.
it's got that right column energy, as they would say.
Yeah.
So it's stuff.
What do you got over there? Oh, it's a kitty?
Yes.
Yeah, I could hear it meowing in the kitchen. So
Aw.
Daniel
I
was
don't.
he was afraid of the ghosties on the screen, so he had to get his
Yeah.
emotional support cat. I know how it is. I know how
I
it
don't
is.
I don't have one of those kinds of kitties that wants to come and cuddle. I have two now. I used to have a bunch when I lived in Michigan a long time ago, but so they have lots of different personalities. I'm sure you guys know if you're cat people, but my cats now are one of them, she's a tiny little tuxedo cat and she is a killing machine. If it moves, she kills it. Except Minnie Mouse, who is one of my rats. They're like best friends. They love each other. They play pretty much nonstop. But my other cat, Cosmos, they're just both very independent. Like they just don't need you, which is great because I have had cats where it's like they got to be on top of you at all times.
Yeah.
Hard if you're a writer and you're writing. It's definitely tough. What's your
For
cat's
sure.
name?
This one's called Kiki.
Oh, okay.
She's 15 years old now.
Oh, okay.
She
looks
she's
good for
She looks
15.
good.
Yeah.
I did a clearance on her.
Oh,
I did all our pets as well. So
yeah.
they're all doing
Is it harder, easier, better?
similar, just not as long.
Oh, okay.
They're
So they get
smaller.
their kitty drama up in their
Yeah.
energy field too.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, it's hard for me to notice because I'm among them all the time. But when someone came around who hadn't seen them for a while, like, oh wow, then they sort of commented on the cats. I haven't done them all because we have several. We have lots, not as many as you've got rats, but we have a lot.
Okay. Yeah, it's got a lot of rats. You guys, it did a head count today. What
Okay.
did I say? 29
Whoa.
juveniles to adults, and then a handful of pups. I haven't counted them all because, but they
That's a
find
lot.
well, we find homes for the younger ones, but once they give it if we have one that looks different from the others, Alice names it immediately. Once it gets a name, it doesn't leave. It's too late.
Okay.
And she comes up with names real fast, like right on the spot.
Because she knows she's now conditioned. If she names it, it stays.
I try to tell her, like, no, this one is getting a new home. And she's like, yeah, but let's call it. No, no, no. And then
Yep. She's got you
it's
wired.
too late. Yep.
Yeah. So I saw you disappear with the phone. Is there a veterinary report that we should know about? Uh-oh.
Yeah. She was like, no, 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 just going like super warp speed, talking to me, telling me, she's like, oh no, they have asthma. I had a rat die last week, just so you guys know.
Oh.
Yeah, rats get respiratory issues, and I haven't really had too many problems. Once in a great while, one will just kind of, it looks like it's gonna make it, and then it just doesn't, it kicks it. But, so we had one die last week. And I expected no more issues because they're not exposed to outside rats except maybe once a year when we bring home, some new stock or whatever. But I woke up this morning and Minnie Mouse, Kashmiri's best friend, looks like a little furry potato, just breathing heavy, set. Like they look like they have a little fever.
Oh.
And so we had another one who was too, and I'm like, that's not normal. So this lady, I just got off the phone with her. She's like, it's because your snakes are in the same room and they're scared. And I'm like, my snakes have been in the same room for like a year or two. Like it's not anything new here. She's like, well, rats get really stressed out. It's just asthma. I'm like, well, are you gonna run any tests? Well, we don't have a clinic, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm taking them to a different vet tomorrow. So
Okay.
she tried to just give me the runaround. They do that here with your actual physical, like your people too. They tried. What did they say? Alice got sick. She got roseola. Is that the one? Is that it? When you're like little, it's the little childhood illness. They get like a real high fever, and then the next day they break out in a rashes, and it's gone in like a week or something. We called that was the first time she ever got sick. She was like 2 years old. We called the ambulance because my husband's paranoid. And he comes out and they're like, well, she has throat herpes. You have to give her this like crazy medicine that's like it's like for cancer patients. I'm like, what is going on right now? I'm like, we're not going to do that. So sometimes I love Russia. I love most things about it. But sometimes you range from you have to take all the medicine right now and go to the hospital for a month and lay there until you're healed, or like go sacrifice a chicken and hope for the best. It really runs the gamut. Like you never know what kind of doctor you're gonna get. So I've found like a rat specialist that I'm gonna take them to tomorrow. So we'll figure it out. But I appreciate um I don't know, whoever stuck it out through that conversation. Thank you.
No. Well, I
Um,
wanted to know.
Yeah.
yeah. Friar, do you got a quiz for us?
I do.
I
I've been
mean, for
trying to figure out
Daniel, not for us, for Daniel
for us.
specifically.
Isn't it all for us, really?
Well, yes,
Um,
it is.
I'm trying to figure out which quiz is appropriate. And so I think I'm just gonna go with like yes, no, pass.
Yeah, that's
I
a good
have,
one.
I mean, I have specialty quizzes, but I don't know like what Daniel is into per
Well, he
se.
doesn't do the esoteric stuff. He does the
Right.
golf and the sports
I,
and
I can
the
tell you
energy clearing.
about cricket. I follow
Ah,
cricket 'cause
You got a
I
cricket quiz?
played it a lot as I played it semi-pro as a teenager, and so I still follow cricket, and that's probably
okay.
one of the things I'll be able to tell you anything about.
My
Yeah.
friend, she got to see cricket in Edgbaston, which was very
Oh
exciting for her.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
the big
Yeah,
one
the
in
big pitch.
Birmingham. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Um, all right. I could give you a choice. I'm okay with choices. I'm not always a horrible dictator. Not
no,
always.
I'm a guest, and I will do as I'm told. So whatever you have for me, I'm happy to join in.
So I'll give you a choice, and you can pick one at random. It's okay. So I've got yes, no, pass, which is just a list of subjects, and you can just say yes, no, or pass. I have Thanopoly, which pits two subjects against each other. It's like the Thunderdome. One survives, one doesn't. I have some specific quizzes now that I've created. I've got a Manly P. Hall quiz. I have a quiz on Platonism. I have a quiz on the Golden Dawn. I have a quiz on transurfing because it's super weird, and on Dane Rudyard. So you can choose any of those that you'd like, and it's probably all the same to you, but maybe not.
What was the one you said, like the battle one, where one survives and one doesn't?
Ah, yes, Thanopoly.
Yeah,
I
We
do
don't
can do
know.
that
that.
one. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let's fire that up on ye oldie screen here. Desktop 2, Electric Boogaloo. Let's do this. Click on the share button, sir. All right. So we seeing stuff. Not seeing my dinosaur romance
I
novel,
see
sir.
it. No, I see
Okay.
it. No dinosaur romance.
Okay, good.
There we go.
Phew. Phew. All right. Here we go. You have to
Is that
pick.
Twilight fan fiction? Is that what I see in the background? Is that what I think it is?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm feeling
Continue.
especially sparkly today.
Okay.
Um, all right. So here we go. We have two options, and one, if it's not real, it becomes real, and the one you didn't choose disappears forever. And so this is usually more impactful with people who have vested interest in some of these ideas. I know I do. And Abby does too, and that was intentional on my part. Anyway, you get to choose from actual literal demons or actual literal vampires. Go.
What do I do?
You just
You
pick one.
you just say words and I'll do the clicking.
Okay.
You have to pick one. And whatever you don't pick gets like it just goes into oblivion and it's gone forever. That
Yes.
also means that you have to sometimes pick between two things that suck and then you're gonna keep one
Right.
around.
Or things you like.
Yes.
Well, actual literal vampires for sure.
You're gonna keep that one?
Oh yeah, I read all the Anne Rice back in the
Okay.
day when
All right. Interview with the vampire dinosaurs. Right. The Big Bang or black holes? It's your
uh,
choice.
Big Bang.
All right. Agenda 2030 or bricks? And I'm watching you, Abby, as I always do
Okay.
on this question.
I have no idea what either of them are, so
Gotta pick one.
Pick one.
so pick bricks just to keep the pattern going.
That was a
Oh,
good
well,
answer.
yeah. Abby's happy now. Alfred Adler or Carl Rogers?
Again, Carl Rogers was someone that I used to play cricket with, so we'll
Perfect.
keep.
Pick him, yeah.
It's him. It's actually him.
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove or Club of Rome?
We'll keep Bohemian Grove because it sounds like a club I used to go to in London.
Oh
All
my
right.
goodness.
Yeah, it
I don't
is.
know what half of these things are.
Nobody does. Don't feel bad.
This is all from my twisted mind.
Uh,
Bob Dobbs or Discordianism?
Discordianism,
Nice. Divining rods or dowsing rods?
dowsing rod,
Okay. Bashar or Drunvalo Melchizedek?
Bashar,
Okay. Age of Aquarius or Dwapara Yuga?
Age of Aquarius,
Crystals or energy healing?
energy healing,
All right. Electric universe or fake moon?
fake moon for sure.
Okay. Antinomianism or flirty fishing?
What the heck?
Yep.
Yes, that's the correct
Um,
response.
Flirty fishing,
Okay.
because it's the only way fishing might become interesting.
Oh, sick burn. Enochian or geomancy?
Uh, Geomancy.
Okay. Comte de Saint-Germain or Grigory Rasputin?
Comte de Saint-Germain.
Oh. Avatars or guardian angels?
Avatars.
All right. Alien abductions or hauntings?
Hauntings.
Gematria or Hecalo magic?
I don't know. The first one.
Okay, Gematria. Albert Pike or Helena Blavatsky?
So, Albert Pike.
All right, good choice. Flat Earth or Hollow Earth?
Oh, Flat Earth for sure.
All right,
For sure.
flat it is. Flatter than my cap that I got from the
Yeah.
Hebrides. Barbara Bush Crowley or Humans on the Moon?
Humans on the Moon.
Okay, sorry, Barb.
Yeah.
Astrocartography or hypnosis?
Astrocartography.
All right. Carnivore diet or ice baths? Ooh.
Carnivore diet. No, ice baths are a struggle.
Well, you grew up next to the Irish Sea, so I think you've had enough of that.
Yeah.
Archons or incubi slash succubi?
They all sound terrible.
Yeah.
That's because they
I'll
are.
have the incubi, succubi because I have a rough idea what they might be.
Okay, fair enough. Gets lonely. Aleister Crowley or Israel Regardie?
That's Alistair Crowley.
Uncle Al. Dualism or Jyotish?
Jyotish.
All right.
I don't
Golden
know what it
Dawn. That's okay. Jyotish, I guess, more generally would be Hindu astrology, if I want
Yes.
is.
Golden Dawn or Kabbalah. This one pains me.
Golden Dawn.
I
Wow.
like it. Yeah. Chosen ones or kingdom spouses?
I don't know. That sounds. Kingdom spouses. That all
Okay.
sounds very,
Why not?
lovely.
Yeah. Grimoire magic or left hand path?
A left-hand path.
Okay. Most people don't mean Agories when they say that either. Atlantis or Lemuria?
Atlantis.
All right. I love it. Plato. Bigfoot slash Yeti or lizard people?
Bigfoot Yeti.
All right. Lilith or Lucifer?
Let's go for Lilith.
All right. Ladies man. Pokemon Sea or Lunar Mansions?
As in Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
As in, yes. Yes, indeed.
Lunar Mansions.
That is the right answer. Elemental magic or Mandela effect?
Elemental magic.
Oh, how nice. Law of attraction or manifestation?
Manifestation.
Damien Eccles or Manly P. Hall?
No, it sounds like a bad jukebox, that word. Damien Eccles.
All right, Damien. Point for the living. Entheogens or meditation?
My God. Meditation.
All right. Enneagram or Myers-Briggs?
Enneagram.
Ancient giants or mud floods?
Oh, ancient giants every time.
All right.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants. I like it. Copenhagen interpretation or multiple timelines model? It's your choice.
Copenhagen
I'm a
interpretation.
I'm
Because
a
I want to
cope.
go.
Yeah, I'm a cope man myself.
Yeah.
Mediumship or near death experiences?
Right. Near-death experience.
NDE. Anunnaki or Nephilim?
I don't know. They are. They're like 80s metal bands, aren't they?
Yes, they were featured in Kerrang recently in a
Yes.
retrospective.
Nephilim.
All right. Alchemy versus neuro-linguistic programming.
Alchemy.
All right. Gallery of Magic or New Avatar Power?
New Avatar power.
Ah,
But
do you hate food?
but not New Avatar series.
No. All right. Giza Pyramid Power Station or Nibiru?
Oh, Giza Pyramid Power Station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are sounding like 70s album covers now.
Yeah.
They really should have been. They would have liked this stuff. Angel numbers or numerology?
Numerology.
All right. Limerence or objects of reference?
Objects of reference.
Okay. Star seeds or only ones?
Only ones.
Okay. Baneful magic or
I know
Ouija
what they
boards?
are.
It's all right.
Ouija boards are horrible. Baneful magic. That's probably
Okay.
horrible.
Yes, that's how this works. These are all traps.
Okay.
New Age or paganism?
Paganism, my paganistic roots
Okay. Yeah.
of the British Isles.
That absolutely. Shamanism is the first esoteric endeavor. Babaji or Paramhansa Yogananda?
Babaji.
Babaji. You may yet find him. Cryptids or poltergeists?
Cryptids.
Okay. Arranged marriages or polygamy?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Polygamy.
Polygamy. Doppelgangers or possession?
Doppelgangers.
Ooh. Perennial philosophy or progressivism?
Someone's FedEx is FedEx is just outside my house. Progressivism. I don't know what FedEx.
You gotta go get that?
If you need to go get it, it's okay.
No, it's all right. We live quiet. They just jump it on our porch.
Oh,
I just don't know
Okay.
why he was shooting this home. Progressivism.
All right. MK Ultra or Project Monarch?
I'll go for Project Monarch and think it's about butterflies. There we go.
Yeah. Continue to think it's about butterflies. That will help. Human design or psychoanalysis?
Human design.
Oh my. Neville Goddard or quantum jumping?
Quantum jumping.
All right. Ghost hunters or reincarnation?
Ghost hunters.
Prophecy or remote viewing?
Remote viewing.
Goetia or ritual magic?
Goetia.
All right.
Got a lot
Heinrich
to get up to.
Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa or Robert Anton Wilson? Henry or Bobby?
Yeah, we'll go for Robert.
All right. I like him. Jiddu Krishnamurti or Rudolf Steiner?
Krishnamurti.
Dr. Joe Dispenza or Rupert Sheldrake?
Rupert.
Just because he's British. Taoism versus Taoism versus Sanatan Dharma. I like Rupert.
Taoism.
Sadhguru or Santos Bonacci? Ooh.
Now that's a tricky one.
It is.
Do they both come with rice? I'll have the Sadhguru.
The saddest of gurus.
It's like a menu.
It's a pick and mix, sir. Kali Yuga versus scientism.
Kali Yuga.
All right, might as well. New World Order versus Scientology.
New World Order.
All right.
Oh, God.
Cakes of Light or Secret Chiefs?
It's got to be Cakes of Light.
You fell for the trap. Holy Guardian. Holy Guardian Angel versus self-replicating machine elves.
Yeah, let's have the elves.
All right.
You're like the first person to pick the elves.
Yeah, that's true. Chaos magic versus sex magic.
Chaos.
All right. A Brahman ritual or Shem HaMephorash?
Shem.
Yes, the many names of God. Good choice. Carl Jung or Sigmund Freud?
Neither.
Nope.
Young.
All right, Carl Jung. Nostradamus or the Simpsons prophecies?
Simpsons.
Nice. Ancestral guides or soul contracts?
Soul contract.
Ooh, you're trapped. Dybbuk boxes or soul traps? This whole quiz is a soul trap.
Let's have the boxes.
You like the Dybbuk boxes? All right.
No, I have no idea what they are.
Angels or spirit guides?
Let's have angels.
Oracle cards or tarot cards?
Tarot cards.
Abraham Hicks or Teal Swan?
Teal Swan.
Tealy Bits. Birds Aren't Real or the 27 Club?
27 Club?
Okay. Oumuamua spacecraft or the Black Knight satellite?
The spacecraft.
Right, I'll do you for that. PGM, which is Papyrus of Greek Magic, or the Book of Going Forth by Day?
We'll have the Book of Going Forth by Day because it sounds nicer than it probably is.
Yeah, it's good. It's Egyptian magic bits. Harry Potter or The Craft? Talking about the movies now.
Okay. Oh, The Craft.
Okay. Tantra versus the Fae.
Tantra.
Okay. The Flying Bell Wunderwaffe or the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
Okay. The spaghetti monster.
You have been touched by his noodly appendage, ramen. Eminentizing the eschaton or the Illuminati?
The first one.
All right. Bringing Jesus home. Gnosticism versus the Matrix.
Gnosticism.
Okay. Ancient Aliens or the Watchers?
Ancient Alien.
Prayer or Thelema?
I don't know what Thelema is, so let's have it.
Hey, I like that. I like that spirit. Psychological model of magic or theosophy?
The first one, Model of Magic.
All right. Bhagavad Gita or the three books of occult philosophy?
Um, I've actually heard of the first one, so let's take that.
All right. Krishna smiles upon you. Astral travel or time travel?
Astral travel.
Reiki or transurfing?
Transurfing.
Ah, Bootsy, you got one. Empaths versus twin flames.
Twin flames.
Fasting or veganism?
Fasting.
Freemasonry or voodoo?
No. Voodoo.
Okay. Tartaria or the Voynich manuscript?
Itaria.
Hermes Trismegistus or Wilhelm Reich?
The first one.
The thrice great spirit intelligence model of magic or witchcraft?
Witchcraft.
Ooh, witchy bits. UFOs or xenobiology?
UFOs.
Planetary magic or yoga?
Yoga.
Micronova or younger dry ass impactor?
My God. Sounds like I'm in Lowe's. They ask.
Or home base. You're in home
I'll have the
base.
I'll have the Micro Nova, please.
All right, yes.
Free delivery.
In pounds or dollars. Emmanuel Velikovsky or Zakaria Sitchin?
Let's have Zakaria.
Zachariah. All right, you are done.
Congratulations.
And that
Thank
is
you.
it.
That was
You
a mind opener for sure.
Yeah, it's a different experience.
Wow. So will I get the results?
Yeah, you don't get anything. What you
You get
lose is like 10 minutes or 15 minutes and you never get it back.
right. But what you gain is the relief of knowing that you probably never have to do it again.
Oh, that was fun. Thank you.
Unless you want to.
Yeah, unless
I
you
mean,
want to.
some of the things I've come across or been on the periphery, but I read a lot of stuff in my early 20s, but then kind of didn't. And I'm not an online person, so
It's okay.
this is a nice thing for me to come on and see the
My,
online world.
see, my hope is that people like replay this and go, I'm looking this stuff up. That's my like dearest wish. But
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably
some of them for sure sound like I now need to know what that is.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. One of these days, it's on my list. I will go and look these all up.
you've got dinosaur romance novels to write, so
I
you
don't
know.
really write those. You're gonna make people think that's really what I'm writing.
And why not? You should be proud. You should be proud. Come out of the
Out
dinosaur
of the
closet.
You know what I think of is that remember that what was that like early 90s, late 80s or something, that show with the dinosaurs? They were like live action
Oh
dinosaurs.
yeah.
Remember? And they had the
I
baby dinosaur
They had the
and
baby dinosaur, not the mama.
I'm thinking like sitcom romance, but with those
Oh,
dinosaurs. It's very unappealing, like even in my imagination.
it was a show, wasn't it? They were
It
like in
was.
Oh, it's called Dinosaurs, right?
What was it? Yeah, I mean, I can see it in my head, but I don't remember the name.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're right. Is
those
that
were
what you're writing
innocent
about?
times. No, no, I'm definitely not. Definitely not.
Do we want to do the astrology YouTube bits or no?
Yeah, bring it up. Let's see what's going on. We
All
don't got to
right.
spend too much time on it unless it's
Yeah.
hilarious, in which case we'll go
I haven't
into the rabbit hole.
I haven't looked, so I'm going in cold.
I don't ever know what's going on, you guys. This is when we jump on. This is like me coming at it cold, so I don't know.
Yeah, we
just
don't
going to
know.
see what FedEx bought. Hang on.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, do that. And we can look at Joni Petrie, friend of Mario West. What the hell, by the way?
Unveiling Neptune's impact. Okay. Like
I
for when
didn't.
though? Because Neptune moves so slow. I do feel bad because she's like friends with her or something. But
Yeah,
like, you know, some of some of the thumbnails, you know, they're probably not as outrageous as they sound.
no. I would have made her picture bigger on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have big words. That's a good idea because people look at this stuff on their phones.
I'm not a good
Um,
with the thumbnails, so I can't
you're
like
I think your
they're
thumbnails are
okay.
good. I would
Or
give your thumbnails a solid, at least a solid B.
I give them a good. I think they're good.
Okay. What do we got here? Steve Judd. He's not looking so happy.
December 2024, that's not very exciting.
He looks like he broke bad. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, a little bit.
Um, whereas Adam is looking happy.
Man, these are really letdown after all the end of the world stuff with the election. Like the world was for sure ending and we were never going back and it was all falling apart.
Yeah.
But now we're just like, oh, now it's December.
Yeah, like we were gonna die.
Yeah, it was
They
the
they,
end.
they actually
New
literally said you will not survive.
Yeah,
And here we
but
are
December.
with Adam, and he's just chilling.
And it's
Um,
December 9 through 15.
now
Exciting.
Molly McButter does not disappoint. She's got epic cosmic revelations for us.
Going spiritual epic. Okay, well, it's epic. That's good.
Epic. It's a big deal. Um, Pam's chilling. This is very very chill.
Yeah. Well, what's that skull one? Deeper look at astrology online core. Oh,
It's a
that's an ad.
Jungian approach. Yes, an ad. Um,
Leo moon.
Natasha's looking skeptical.
A little bit. A little
She's
bit.
looking skeptical.
We
Um,
should, when I see people with only like a couple views, like I always try to watch them and comment
aw,
because when you're a new creator, like that means a lot to somebody.
it does. I agree completely. It's crazy out there. Do your self-care. That's cosmic owl wisdom for you.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'll
Yeah,
accept
it's
that.
not bad. It's not too histrionic.
No.
Um, channel's new to me. Okay, Steve Judd, I
Divinity
guess.
and gender. What's that about?
Astrological patriarchy. Natak, Steve.
Okay.
What else we got? What else we got? Oh, we got Bracha Goldsmith. Man, her videos are a trip.
Are they?
I will say that. I'm pretty sure she's tropical, but
Okay.
so she hand paints all her stuff, and she also will occasionally play like keyboard, and she also has this super crazy thing she does where she does Pleiadian light language downloads and takes on the voice of the Pleiadians.
Does she have
And
like 8 million views per video? Because that sounds intense.
she does not. She's only merely got a 500,000 for this one. So, but
Okay.
yeah, it's. I was talking to Nikki last night. We're talking about doing videos, and I brought her up as an example of someone who's very unforgettable, right? And
Okay.
I think Nikki, with her energy and the way she approaches things, would be very well liked for her personality.
Nikki, like our Nikki?
Yes, our Nikki.
Yeah, she needs to make the videos already. We've been telling her. Like, make the videos and just rant because they're hilarious.
Right. Nikki's just naturally cheerful and charming and funny, and she could talk about the phone book and you would like it. So I just think she should do it. Venus opposes Mars, the cosmic lovers duel. Are they in fact lovers? Are they dinosaurs? What's
No, they
going on?
weren't. I don't think in any mythology they're lovers, so I don't know why.
That's from lunatic astrology.
But you
So
got to make stuff, like you got to keep pumping out content or else, the algorithm abandons
yeah,
you.
look at that. The angels with the trumpets. Man, that's cheerful.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Renstrom, are you Swedish? Look at those colors. He might be Swedish.
Yeah. Big
Um,
astrology this week.
big. Jupiter at max illumination. Mars stands still in the sky. World on the brink. Well, we know that because look at the next one. Oh my God, it's declassified. It's all there.
Hey, that's Santos Bonacci. That's
It
one of the
is.
guys on your list. Who's that
It
guy?
is.
It looks like George Soros.
It is George Soros and what's his nuts from World Economic Forum.
Oh, Klaus Schwab.
Yes, Klaus Schwab.
Yeah,
The
I know all
bomb.
those names. You guys list off the astrologers. I'm like, I don't know, but I know all the political people, all
Santos
the
Ben
world villains.
so Santos Bonacci was really popular, and he was one of these guys that sort of brought a lot of different things together, stringing things together in his big theories. But he kind of went crazy,
Okay, it
and now and
happens.
now and now he just yells at all his people on the live streams. So,
Okay.
we got anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Bashar. Look at Bashar.
Oh, that's another guy from your thing?
Yeah, from the list, Bashar.
What, like
Yeah.
normal people up there
Yeah,
on your
so
list?
well, he's not that normal. He's a channeler like Abraham Hicks, but different. He actually, I watched his prediction. He said that if um if Kamala won, there would be full UFO disclosure, and if Donald Trump won, it would be World War III. That's what he said.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds interesting.
yeah. We got Baba
People
Vanga.
say,
We got chosen ones.
or
Don't have
chosen
any
ones,
only ones,
right?
or um,
OnlyFans, yeah.
yeah, or or dinosaurs. All right, I
Six, yeah, yeah.
think we're good. I think we're
Okay, we're
good.
good on the things.
We covered
Let's
that.
check out the comments. Where are we at? Hold on, you guys. Let me look real quick. Bathe. Oh, Lorna says bathe every day and deep clean regularly. That's what the stuff. Um, I hate to break it to you, Lorna. I maybe take one shower a week and I probably smell terrible, but you guys only have to deal with me from the virtual platform, so you don't have to smell me.
I think you smell like a
Um,
rose every time.
Thank you so much. You definitely have rose potpourri or something over there. I don't know what's going on. Yes, thank you everybody for your thoughts and prayers for my creatures. I do appreciate that. What else do we have on here? I love that show when I was a kid. Malia Norby says that was the dinosaur show. Yeah, we were really into that too. I think it was like 8 years old or something. It was a long time ago. Looking back, like that show did not age well at all. But it was a different time.
It's okay. It gave you a lot of ideas, and so that's important.
I'm not writing a dinosaur romance novel or series. I promise you. I can't promise there won't be dinosaurs ever in it, but I can definitely promise you.
There will be now.
Oh God.
I love triangles.
There, yes, yes, okay. What else?
Oh,
I used to love Pam when I was into tropical. I took some of her courses, said look up astrology. Pam, which one was that? That
Pam
was
Gregory, I think. I
I'm
think it's
glad
Pam
you
Gregory.
know. I don't know what
Yeah.
I'd do without you
Look,
because
I
I don't
used
know
to,
what's going on.
believe it or not, I watched a lot of astrology YouTubes
Yeah, but that's
once
how you
upon a
found
time.
me. I
Once upon,
know.
well, that is how I found you, in
That's
fact,
right. That's
because
right.
you put out, little. I won't say it's entirely clickbait, but it got my attention.
It
So
was, I was trying to make it scary. And apparently it worked because it got you, it snagged you right in and you watched it. Maybe the whole
I
video.
did.
I don't know.
I
I think
did.
you guys, I think on the first, so we don't have any guests scheduled and I didn't know who could be there. I wasn't even going to do a live stream on January 1st because I figured that's like our Christmas here and that's when we do presents and stuff and my daughter's going to wake up and really early when I. So, but I thought about it and I think I am going to jump on. I don't know, Friar, I think you said you were busy, but
I,
I don't
I can
know.
probably jump on
It's
actually.
a well, don't put yourself out or anything. But I think I am gonna go through and do a 1 year forecast for probably just the United States. I can't do like all the countries without making it very inaccurate. So I think I'll take a look at it. Even though technically it's not the solar return, I'll definitely still take a look at it. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I can't listen to any tropical astrologers. It's like it's as soon as they start talking about it, I'm like, no, I can't. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. That's another thing I want to do. You guys, if you're watching and you're remind me later, um, I get the craziest. I have a video on my channel. It's like, what's the difference between tropical and sidereal? I have two. One's longer and one's real short. And I get the craziest people, like, they're not crazy people. They're giving me crazy reasons for, like,
Right.
justifications for why tropical's a thing. And somebody got really sassy with me the other day, but I would like to go
Oh,
through and read all of these on the live stream. I did. I
okay.
offered to him like, look, I don't got time to like debate all of your fallacious knowledge that you just threw at me, but why don't you come on the live stream and we'll have a debate? And I never heard anything back. So
Oh, I bet.
it was one of those things.
Oh, did you hear back from the dudes? That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh no, I never heard back from him.
Okay.
Never heard back. But that's 2 weeks from now, counting down the day. No, that's next. Oh
Mm.
shoot, that's next week. I got to figure out StreamYard by next week.
Mm.
All right, so we can watch that video live. All right. Thanks everybody. Daniel, did you have anything else that you wanted to mention or
No,
say or
thank you for having me on, and thank you for give me some feedback what's happened for you, because it's
Yeah.
still early days really, because it will just keep, you know, whatever was there is gone. So over the months coming, you'll probably notice some things and not notice other things probably. So,
Well, I
but I'm
will
glad
definitely keep you posted on it, as I note. And I pay attention to that stuff because I'm a,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a data person and I want to know what's going on.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. It's nice to meet you too, Freya. And
Yeah.
even though I can't quite see you there, but
Yes. That's by design.
Yes. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll be here next week. Check out Friar's website, my website, and contact Daniel. His information is in the video description. Daniel, do you know your email address offhand? Like, could you rattle it off without me looking at it?
I can have
No,
a
it's
look.
it's in the video description. Don't worry about it. I didn't know if it was like an easy to remember one.
Oh, it will be. I had to get a new one because I was just getting cluttered in my. I've got
Oh,
a
yeah,
separate
yeah. Yeah.
one, so.
Okay.
But
Well, everybody out there, thanks again. Much love and blessings
Yes.
and all light and goodness to you and for infinity.